And we are going. What is going on with everybody? It is your boy, Eric, aka Young God, coming to you live in the Green Dungeon, giving it to you real, raw, rugged. And I got somebody who's a absolute legend on the other line right now. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, man. Who we got?
Peace, Universal Family. This is yours truly, CeeLo Green.
Hey, man. Not every day. I'm sitting here talking to a legend right now, man. So this is I think this should be a good one right here, man. How you doing?
I'm good, King. I thank you for the acknowledgement, man.
Of course, man. You got the painting in the background. What's that right there? That looks amazing.
Let me see. Can you see it? Lift up a little bit.
It's like some Egyptian painting, or
No, it's Indian. It's Buddha.
Buddha, 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 Buddha,
Yeah.
Buddha. Yeah, man. I've been really heavy into like breathing a lot, and a lot of those techniques come from like Indian styles of living or whatnot. Like when you're angry, when you're emotional, when you're mad, when you're sad. I've learned that breathing really helps, and I'm not sure how like deep you're into like that way of thinking, but that's just something for anybody out there listening. You ever like got into that?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually in a meditation room, a meditation and prayer room that we have here in the home. And so yes, it's quite enlightening. Breathing techniques, meditation. You know, all of those many different facets are, you know, you got people who are fundamentalists, man. Like they live by it. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a part of my growth and development that I'm trying to acquire now. So like we pretty much try devoted a room in the house just to coming in and being quiet, almost like taking a moment away from each other sometimes, just to quiet your mind.
It's very interesting. I'm a psychology major, so I just learned that like when people like when you're talking about something traumatic or whatever. Let's say you had a fight with your girl or something like that, and you describing it to somebody. You might just be talking like this right now. You're talking like you ain't breathing. You need to sit down and breathe. So I think that's cool
Oh yeah,
that you got a little room where you could just breathe. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a man cave, but it's a little quiet cave. You know what I'm saying? This is something where you can just kind of
absolutely,
take. That's
absolutely.
cool. That's cool,
You're
man. That's
absolutely
cool.
right.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. How long y'all had that room?
This room has been here maybe like a little, well, probably maybe like 6 months
Mm,
because it was like a storage room for a while. You know
mm.
what I mean? It was a storage room. Then it was my fiance's closet for her overtures because she's a vintage wardrobe collector and stylist. So it was just racks of wardrobe and stuff like that here too for a while. But then we just converted it here recently into a meditation room.
That's cool. That's cool. I guess to kind of take a little step back, because I'm from Florida, right? And I'm pretty young, and I want to say like my first ever like hearing of CeeLo or CeeLo type song was you and Trick Daddy. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Trick Daddy, a Florida legend, so I hear In the Wind. And I know Trick Daddy, but I don't know this voice on the hook. I'm like, who is this? I'm really, really young, and ever since then, I've been listening to your music. And like I said, just before we dive deep into this, it's definitely a big honor to talk to you, man, because I feel like you have one of the voices in hip hop which is super underrated. Very versatile, from rapping to the singing to super soulful singing to the poppy singing. And I feel like a lot of people try to do those things, but they fail. A lot of people say they're a jack of all trades, but it's like, nigga, just stick to rap. Just stick to rapping, my nigga. You're not that good at this singing thing. But the fact that I could hear you could soulfully sing like on which I want to get to later, but the Kendrick Untitled Unmastered song that you had
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
you got the I can't explain, that's fire, man. Like when you can go from that, then you can go from a song like what is it, Big Old Words. Not a
Oh,
lot
okay.
not a lot of people can do that, man. So I just want to thank you for being such a versatile person, because within this black realm of art that we make, a lot of people like to put people in boxes, but I think you're one of the people that literally like it's completely outside of the box. So I want to thank you for being that, man.
Well, absolutely, man. I think very intentionally. Uh, I set forth to be an example of what we were capable of. You know what I mean? Um, as Black people, as Black artists, Black entrepreneurs, Black excellence. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, sometimes people skew too far to the left, and they view something, um, you know, inaccurately. Let's say people qualify what's real to them. People tend to think what's real is the thing that stays the same the longest.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and there is some validity in that perspective, but I also do believe that diversity, um, variety, and range are also attributes of a very healthy and nimble mind.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I really wanted to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt by way of leaps and bounds, and landing on my feet. You know what I'm saying? So, to successfully complete the mission and survive the stunt, if you will. And so, therefore, now people who are aware of me, you know what I mean, and have that affinity for me and for my event individual account, of art and art form. They're not waiting to see me play it safe. They're they're in fact waiting to see me survive another stunt. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, just for the love of the people, I just be like, man, what more could I do? And so, like, like, I want to do it to death. I want to live it all the way into the ground. And so, like, like anything, everything for the people. So that's kind of been a really motivating factor for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the love and admiration, you know what I mean? Like, an acknowledgement, you know what I'm saying? Like, of those of whom I cherish, like, so much. You know what I mean? And I think artistry is a very selfless disposition. There's a lot of righteousness that's written into,
Yeah.
the origin of its purpose. I mean, like, and then that purpose is endowed, or invested into someone. You know what I mean? And then you have to then realize and come to terms, you know what I mean, with what that purpose is and how to access it, and how to reiterate it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And reach as many as you can. So it becomes a duty. You know what I mean? So I feel dutified in doing everything that I do.
Well, I think it's interesting that we started off talking about kind of different type of cultures and the spirituality of like Buddhism and things like that. Because I think the way that you treat your artistry is like some type of different cultures believe in reincarnation. You've
Yeah.
reincarnated like 30 times throughout your career. You done been
Yes.
about 50 different people. And I can say personally, about 95% has resonated with me. Probably even higher. You know what I'm saying? And that's a super huge compliment because for you to start off with something like a Goody Mob and then do Gnarls Barkley, that's on two different ends of the spectrum. Like
Absolutely.
those are two different fans you're catering to. Somebody that might love Goody Mob might hate Gnarls Barkley. Somebody that might love Gnarls Barkley might hate Goody Mob, or they could love both. So both of those resonate with me. So I feel like the way that you can reincarnate in different type of characters and different type of personalities and different type of mindsets is crazy to me. Is that hard to do?
Not hard for me, you know what I'm saying? But when you're honest and you're advantageous, you know what I mean, like, and you're morally obligated in some regard, you have to do it all. You have to do it all in order to be whole. You know what I mean? And so therefore, even after 30 years professionally, I still feel like there's more that I could do,
Mm.
and there's more that I desire to do. And so, um, with that being said, whether someone loves or hates this or that, my ultimate goal would be to first be whole, but then establish an unconditional love. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
Because you gotta be able to love somebody for telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And a lot of people need that, regardless of you know the capacity. Mine is in an art capacity. Someone else's may be in the capacity of their gender or orientation. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're looking for something unconditional, something that doesn't judge them, something that allows them, supports them, you know what I mean, and encourages them to be, you know what I mean, like all that they are. And sometimes, you know, you find a community of like-mindedness, and that's where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? And so it's very ironic when because I am considered very underrated on, on the urban side. I mean, like, and you know, I'm as black as they come. Anybody that know me from Goody Mob, you know what I mean? Like, I'm super duper pro black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, damn near like a nationalist. You know what I'm saying? Or militant. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, but you know what I mean? Like, with that education, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, you know, you first have to be able to define what being black means. You know what I'm saying? Like, essentially what it means to you, but what it means in general. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Um, and as you become reformed, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and educated, then there's a benevolence that comes about. You know what I mean? And, you know, as Frederick Douglass once said, an educated man is not fit to be a slave. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, you know you want to impress upon the world your intellectual property, your thought. You know what I mean, like your ideas. You know what I mean, your you know your instincts. You know what I mean, like you know your ingenuity.
Yeah.
And so therefore, that intellectual property, properly managed, becomes real estate. It actually ends up becoming the land that you live on. You know what I'm saying, like, and then further beyond that, the territory that you wish to conquer. And so therefore, once I saw that I was free, you know what I mean, like, and I could move about. I mean, I could walk, run, and fly. You know what I'm saying? I sought out different territories to conquer and claim as my own. You know, like, but under the pretenses of being a black man, you know what I mean, like, who was once a slave. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I mean, so you feel me? I ain't gonna be no free slave and stand still. That's for goddamn sure.
It's crazy listening to you talk because it almost sounds like you rapping. I don't know if anybody's told you that before, but like when you talk, sometimes you like the intellectual properties of the mop. I'm like, he getting in right now, you know. But I do feel what you
Well,
I do feel what you're saying.
well, because you said that you were a psychology major, so I figured that we would be having, you know, an intellectual
I love it.
encounter. So, like,
I love
you
it.
know, I'm putting on my good shoes for you. Let you know. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get on your level, kid. You the genius on the line, not me.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Nah, I want to ask you a question. Something you said though. You said to even like talk about a lot of things for, as a black person, you got to define what does black mean to you. You know, because you were saying that listening to your old stuff, you nearly militant on some Black Panther, you know, movement type stuff or whatnot. So I'm curious, what does it mean to be black to you?
Well, I can try to paraphrase and sum that up for you because it's a big idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a longer conversation that we probably have time for.
Yeah.
Uh, but to sum it up, black is it's the color of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like, which means it is everything and nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, it is beyond. You know what I mean? Like, our inquiry. It's so vast. It's so enormous. You know what I mean? Like the sheer majesty and magnitude of blackness. You know what I mean? We have not even. We can't even fathom the questions to ask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Um, and so that's the way I view it. Like I mean, so like therefore it gives me a confidence in being black, but then it also gives me a humility and a groundedness because I am everything and nothing at all. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. That's interesting. I think about that a lot because I know the word black can be used for very negative connotations. You know, when you think of black, you think of black cat or black magic or black. You
Yeah.
know, when you think of white, you think of you know what I'm saying. And that's something that's always interested in me.
Well, yeah, but when you think about information, you have to consider the source. You know what I'm saying? And so we are fought. You know, we fight many battles on different levels, man, and that's an agent of psychological warfare
Yep.
to defeat you. You know what I mean? Like uh, uh, intellectually, you know, and then you know, once you're dumbfounded, you know what I mean? Like, there's a trickle down effect, you know what I mean? Like, that affects the spirit, you know what I mean, like the physical, and it's a downward spiral from there. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And then that's why you then have drug culture because you're trying to pour syrup on top of that pain and that identity crisis. You know what I mean? Like, or that's why motherfuckers are acting foolish. You know what I mean? Like, because they much rather be somebody foolish than nobody at all. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So it's like, you know what I mean? So, but that same pain comes with sedation. You know what I mean? And so people want to be sedated so they can forget. You know what I'm saying? Like, but how can you forget what you never knew? You know what I'm saying? So therefore, it's going to take a sober approach, to find, that true self. You know what I mean?
Sedation, that's an interesting word because as we talk about music, I feel like music is something that sedates people. And
Yeah.
back in the '90s, the South didn't get any type of respect. As Outkast went up on the Source Awards, and the Source Awards, and had that famous "When the South Can Get a Chance" or whatever, or "Listen to the South." And I think it's interesting that that was even a thing because when I really think about it, the Dungeon family was doing some of the most like musically inclined stuff at that time
That's
that
right.
New York niggas was not doing at all. New York niggas was not even close to doing.
Yeah.
Like New York niggas always, because it's funny because I bring up big old words and you impersonate New York niggas like, hey, yo, shut that beat, you know what I'm saying? We gonna rap shit, you did that whole thing, and it's funny because the way they like pretend like niggas from the South can't rap, but y'all were doing things like Aquemini, like when you're on the song, is it Liberation?
Yeah.
Like song of Liberation. So much stuff musically going on with you and Erica and the music at the very end. That whole album is crazy. And just things that was going on certain Goody Mob songs and like Soul Food. It's crazy to me that you guys were so musically inclined. So being from the South at that time, did you think like we're doing some crazy stuff, like musically wise, not even rapping wise, but just music wise, that y'all were getting credit for?
Uh, well, I think with us kind of carrying on in a tradition of live musicianship, because you got when you think of the South, you gonna think about Memphis, you
Yeah.
gonna think about Tennessee, you know what I mean, all of that. I mean, so like I think we helped conjoin this region to where there's no difference between Florida and Atlanta anymore. It's the South.
Mm.
There's no difference between Atlanta and Houston anymore. The South. That's it. We all together. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You feel me? Um, and so with that, I feel like our accreditations come in the context of continuing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We continuing from the old blues singers and from gospel. You know what I mean? And from Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, like the black R&B that raised us. You know what I'm saying? So like that music was live, which means it was alive. You know what I mean? Like and death dies. So we don't speak about death. We speak about life and living. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And the appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Because life is a matter of time and it's borrowed time. You know what I mean? So like morality, you know what I'm saying, and immortality are also motivating factors as well. You know what I mean? We got a certain amount of time to do what we're doing. How do you want to be remembered? And so the only way you can be immortalized is in image and in ideal. You know what I mean? Like what you set forth. You see what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate a lot of the kids, they don't really have that kind of aesthetic. They're not going about it that way because it's so much easier to just kind of uh, rattle off psychobabble in a bathroom or a closet in your house with a laptop, upload it, and it becomes content. You see what I'm saying? So it's not. If you notice, people don't even call music anymore. Like it's content.
Bro.
You know what I mean? And so I'm not sure if that's progress or digression. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? But like I do know that our young kids, our young artists, our young hopefuls, they aren't living long enough to be great. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So like it does take a little bit more time. You feel me? So that's the only unfortunate thing. So we wanted to ask the ancestors to protect us. Like, I mean, to me, the best way that you can ensure or elongate life is to ask God in prayer for something great to do, a great deed, a great responsibility. And I think, it will keep you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but a lot of people would much rather be ignorant, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? Because there's no responsibility in it. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Kind of piggybacking off your ancestry comment, I have a theory about R&B music. and why it's probably not as great as today as it was in previous times. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on my theory on this. My theory is basically two reasons why it's kind of not the same pace is because one, there's no more live instrumentation for the most part, and two, a lot of people can't sing. So when you take out instrumentation and singing, I feel like there's no emotion in the music anymore.
Well, that's right because singing um, is a it's a it's connected to the compassion. I mean, like, and to the core. I
Yeah.
mean, like, of a person. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so the core is everything that comprises of you, the individual, or you, the artist. You know what I mean? Like, and even further beyond that, you, the human being. So I don't know why motherfuckers be pretending to be heartless. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, how can you be a human being and be heartless? You know what I mean? Like, or how do we misinterpret or kind of like digress on the actual meaning and origin of being a G? You know what I'm saying? Like, being a G don't mean being heartless. It meant having heart.
Yeah.
If you recall. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's about having heart. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's been perverted by the powers that be, you know what I mean, like to serve, what their agenda is, and that's fucking annihilation. You know what I'm saying? Like, of the dominant gene. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is population control. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And so we have to speak out, in such a way of where, there's two other controls that we can have. I mean, like, we can have some self-control and we can have some quality control. If we own more of our culture and more of our content, as they say these days, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? If you don't give a damn, we don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, we'll just wait on you to get out the way. However you end up getting out the way, we'll wait.
I think if you look at society now, I feel like compared to the '60s, just speaking about black people, I feel like there's less kind of militancy. There's a little bit less standards. There's a little bit less a lot of things because for the Black Panther Party to even be started, those people had to live
You
by.
know why?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's basically I was gonna ask you why do you think so?
You know why?
Yeah.
Because being a nigga is a corporate job.
Explain.
The new way to 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 um to colonize is to not whip the slave. No. Overpay the slave.
Mm.
And there you have it.
I mean, we're here thinking, man. That was a bar right there, man. That was a bar. That was a bar. Overpay the slave. That's what I'm gonna think about after we get off the phone with that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so right now, homie, the slave richer than both of us.
Mm.
That's a fact.
That's fine. That's something to think about. That is
Which
a
is
fact.
why they got to do what they doing. I'm saying, like, because a lot of them only acting ignorant.
Mm.
And then us as consumers, we have to demand a higher standard from our artists and from the things that we purchase.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not only are what you eat, you are what you're entertained by.
I feel that. That's definitely a very
How
very
did I lose
interesting
you?
way.
Oh shit! Hold
You see
on, I
me?
lost
You
you.
good?
Wait a minute.
You know how to get back on there?
Nope.
Oh, we good. We go. Oh.
What do I gotta do?
Oh, you see a little. It should be a little green button in the left hand corner. You see it? You just press the little green button. It should take you back.
Oh, okay, got it.
Perfect, perfect. We right there. Hey man, a little bit of technology right there, man. But no. I do think that's a very interesting thing to think about, and I don't want to keep you here forever, but before we do kind of get everything out of here, I do want to talk about some of my favorite verses and songs by you, and if you could just go over little interesting stories or facts or how it came about, I love to hear them.
Let's get it. So I know that you mentioned big old words.
That was definitely gonna be one of them.
So check it out. I'll tell you the story behind that record. I mean, definitely, I felt like I was, I felt like I was barring up, often enough throughout the Goody Mob albums. You know what I mean? But maybe not enough. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that there was a population of people that were kind of anticipating me just kind of more or less coming out with a rap album.
Yeah.
But I did like the total exact opposite, and I did not. So I guess that's still that defiance in me. And I'm like, but you know, I have been granted some foresight, and I knew in some regard of what my destiny would be, and then also what would ultimately become of our musical evolution. You know what I mean? Like, so let's just say I had to come first because I knew what Drake would ultimately come. You see what I'm saying? Just for the sake of retrospect, you reference me. I kind of like it better to be like, you see that old black and white picture where it's like, yo, but back in so and so, like this artist here who was unsung and under what's the word? Underrated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like he actually did some shit first. You know what I mean? Like no different than the way I feel about the Cold Crush Brothers, you know, some of the old school, even East Coast hip hop. And I'm like, damn, man, like them gods, you know, never left them projects, man. They never got paid a dime.
Yeah.
They never got paid a dime. Cool Herc, the godfather of hip hop. Now, this is me being speculative, you know what I'm saying? So, but like, it, you know, it's my understanding that the big homie never even like owned a house. Bought from hip hop. You see what I'm saying? So basically, so that was that. You know what I mean? And me rhyming though, I was like, okay, I thought that I was a decent MC, you know, but it really wasn't my passion. I mean, like, and I'll be honest in saying that this is probably the first time I'm ever really saying that.
Really?
Damn. You know, I really wanted to be an artist. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm an author. I feel like I'm a writer. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm a performer. I feel like I'm an artist. I feel like I'm an impresario. I feel like I'm a renaissance. You know what I'm saying? You know, so a conglomerate of things. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to be. You know what I mean? It's like, so to just be a rapper, I'm like, no, I'm much more than that. I just got to prove it. You know what I'm saying? So I took that opportunity to do that. But as far as Big Old Words is concerned, so if you notice, you got to put these two songs together off that album. Big Old Words and then One for the Road. So that's what I said. So I'm not going, what I'm going for, it don't require rap. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So I'm going to do Big Old Words. I'm a barrage of just, I'm a bar up for this one. 3 verses strong, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to give you one more for the road, and then I'm going to go there. You know what I'm saying? And then shortly thereafter, then here comes Gnarls Barkley and everything. You know what I mean? Like, these were things that, that's the faith. When they say it's the evidence, the hope, the evidence of things hoped for, and the faith in things not seen. I might be paraphrasing that a little bit. So it's the leap of faith. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I got a feeling it's going to go this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's strong in me. You know what I mean? Like, melody, you know what I mean? Movement, you know what I mean? Like, in this particular direction is strong. So, like, let me appease those who would have wanted that from me. And let me try to kind of, like, make it known that there's something, a higher calling that I got to answer. But, you know what I mean? Like, just keep this as a memento. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, so that's where Big Old Words came from. And then plus, you know, just on some surface shit, Big Old Words was sarcasm for, like, you know, when people would assume that Southerners are inarticulate, you know what I mean? And, you know, ridiculous shit like that. I'm like, oh, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't true. Yeah. Like, I'll speak on everybody's behalf. You know what I mean? Like, as far as that. You know what I mean? You feel me? Like, and if you notice, don't nobody never really want no smoke from us. You know what I mean? Like, oh, nothing. Never. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta tell you, you know what I mean? Like, that, state for the record that Dungeon Family is the most successful critically and uh, commercially and critically acclaimed cruise and large families ever. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody come from cell therapy to crazy. You know what I mean? And fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, from ain't no thing but a chicken wing to Miss Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And beyond. Or Hey Ya. Anybody never did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are the true and living X-Men. You know what I mean? The mutants. You feel me?
Yeah.
School for Exceptional Youth. That's us. In real life.
That's a fact.
In real life. And you know what? That's where all the fashion and all of that stuff came from. You know what I mean? That's where the audacity or the bravery to wear a wedding dress or any of those things that I did, that's where it all come from. I mean, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, I got to show them what exceptionality looks like. You know what I mean? You feel me? Like, they're going to see me stick to it. They're going to see me do it and succeed at it. You know what I mean? Like, and I want silence to become the new hate. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And so, and then they go, but see, they're not even going to know how wearing a wedding dress correlates with the black nationalism, you know what I mean, like, of Goody Mob, because I'm here to threaten the establishment. You understand? Now, that's my own idiosyncratic way, and peculiar way to make a political statement, but I did it. And then nobody want no smoke about it. You feel me?
I always wondered that too. I always wondered where did the wedding dress come from when you was doing the Gnarls Barkley thing. So that's interesting.
Well, that's the underlying meaning. I mean, that's what it means ethereally and theoretically. You know what I mean? Like, for me. But as far as just a photo shoot, you know what I mean, like, associated with a project, it was just because the album was called Odd Couple. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
And I'm like, how can we? And see, then we're doing like Gnarls Barkley. That ain't got nothing to do with rap. It ain't got nothing to do with the streets. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is outer space. You know what I mean? Like, this is foreign territory. You know what I mean? Like, this is, it's alternative, which makes it punk, which makes it rock and roll, all of that. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So, with that being said, I had been given a license, you know what I mean, like, to do it. You know what I mean? Like, and to do it how, and using some of those old tricks of the trades, of shock value and sensationalism to sell the product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't nothing new to the white fans that I had acquired. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? It's like, yeah! You know what I'm saying? Like, but for black men, and when our masculinity is so under attack all of the time, you know what I mean? Like, when they see one of their beloved do it, it's like, damn, they got him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? But I'm like, no, they ain't got me doing shit. You know I did it because I'm a bad motherfucker, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did it because I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, about what you or nobody think. I'm me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a statement of me. I do whatever the fuck I want to do. That's what it means. So
tell them niggas you ain't one of them paid slaves, man. You ain't one of the overpaid slaves we were talking about.
Not at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So, and hey, you know what I mean? Like, motherfuckers had to just subscribe. I mean, like, or just sit silently and watch the parade go by. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because we was out there. At the time, I had the biggest record in the world. I had Crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Wasn't no arguing with me at that time. You feel me? Like, and I loved it. So I thought it was fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I like to fuck with people. It's fun to me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but just at its simplest, it's just that, how hard would it be to just see, I mean, like, what could we do to make, this is our sophomore album, like, okay, we got to make this one stick.
Yeah.
What can we do that's going to kind of, like, really, really, create some conversation, some controversy, and draw some attention toward it, you know what I mean? Like, and I came up with the idea. I said, man, let's do some getting married pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it ain't like motherfucker just found one. I mean, like, there's 100 of them with 3 or 4 different dresses. So it's like, I didn't look at it like that, because I'm like, I'm such a man. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, I eat a steak with my bare hands. I eat a steak with one bare hand, fixing the transmission transmission with the other one, man. I'm a real nigga, man. If I want to be.
No, I feel that. I feel that,
You know
man.
what I'm
I feel
saying?
that.
So, like, but who I got to be real for? Nigga, you might be pretending, man. What's a real nigga? Remember, we got to define what black mean to us. Nigga, what the shit mean to you? What being real mean to you?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. We ain't even had no conversation about it. How the fuck is you prejudging me without talking to me? You don't know shit about me. Don't you know I get you whacked? Now, see? That sounded convincing, nigga.
Nigga, I started clutching my pearls when you said, nigga.
What? But it felt good though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It felt good. But see, but now we're just talking shit and having fun, man. So like, we can lighten that up because I'm really just being sarcastic. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's that, man. But then you can go to Andre's fashion and Big Gipp, who started a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? You feel like people don't really give him the credit for it. I mean, so we were able. A lot of us as eccentrics, were able to kind of like faithfully be a part of that crew, which is the Dungeon family. Like, and we all did it successfully. So more amazing than what I even just got through talking about for the last 5 minutes was the fact that we all had that in us. And we all did it. You know, we all motivated each other to be ourselves, to be great, to be daring, to be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And we had the records to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So it was just great. You know what I mean? Like, to me, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of love that go into it too. And even further back beyond that, George Clinton, man, from Parliament Funkadelic, had adopted us as the new young Parliament Funkadelic. So he gave us a license to really, get off the chain. You know what I mean? And I'm like, with his cosign, man, I wasn't tripping off of what nobody had to say. You know what I mean? At that time. So that's that, man.
Wait, I guess kind of continuing on my favorite stuff, since we're talking about Gnarls Barkley. So much stuff I love from you guys, from I'm Going On to Crazy. But I think the one for me is Who's Gonna Save My Soul. That's like the one for me. So I'm curious of like, was that like a particular different setting when y'all was making that song? Because that's one of the songs where I feel like y'all were like super in y'all bag.
Well, we did that one. I remember doing Who's Gonna Save My Soul and Open Book. So this was Odd Couple, and Who's Gonna Save My Soul was the first song that we did. The second song we did was Open Book. You know what I mean? Because I just thought that beat was so straight. If you're familiar with that one.
Yeah.
So that beat was just so. Shout out to Danger Mouse too for being such a genius.
Facts.
That beat was just so strange. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of took it like a dare, and I was just like, yo, I'm like, and that's somebody's at the call box, Shiny. My bad.
You good.
So that's the first beat from him that I watched him produce.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? So, like me growing up, let me give people some more history on me too. It's like, man, I grew up just before rap music, man. I grew up like in punk rock, man. I like Sex Pistols and, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and Motley Crue and Poison and, what I'm saying, stuff like that. Def Leppard.
Yeah.
So, you remember, I don't know if you remember, there's a band called Quiet Riot.
Nah, I'm not familiar.
There's a song called Mental Health. You should Google it, man. So, like, it's like this one, headbanger was, bang your head.
I'm writing it down right now. Mental Health, Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Mental Health. Yeah. So with that, when I was listening to that what's the name beat, so it always put me back into what I enjoyed about rock music. You know what I'm saying? So I took it as a dare. When he doing something strange, I said, okay, what you think I can't write no song to that? You know what I mean? So I took it as a task. You know what I mean? So I took the beat and I did the record to it. You know what I mean? And then I watched this movie, and they gestured me telling me I gotta wrap it up. But I watched this movie called Apocalypto.
Mm-hmm.
You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mel Gibson directed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lead character's name was Jaguar Paul,
Mm.
and their village got conquered by some other some savages,
Yeah.
killing them, leaving everybody dead and taking the men as slaves and stuff like that. So anyway, he got free, and he had hid his wife and kids in a hole. You know what I mean? Like, so he had to lower them down on the rope. You know what I mean? And then a great rain came, and if he didn't get back in time, they were going to drown down there like that. So she was pregnant, his little boy, and his wife was down there. So like it's a really compelling scene. So when he got free, he was running, boy, running. You know what I'm saying? To get back, and it was chasing him. He had to, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
You should check it out if you haven't seen it. But anyway, so the sound of his feet, or the visual of that, reminded me of that beat. And so I kind of wrote it kind of almost like Open Book would be on the soundtrack for Apocalypto. You know what I mean? I feel with fire when I was a man alive. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
So in my mind, I got my fist like this. I'm on top of a mountain, man, with a bear skin over my shoulder, man. Like, so that should be the movies for me, man. So I like making movies. Like, to me, like, rap don't allow me to do that. So, like, I like scores and stuff like that. I like cinematic quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super duper HD in my mind. So that's how I write lyrics, and that's why it's effective in another kind of different way, because it's just a different aesthetic, man. I got a different attitude toward it. You know what I mean? So that's what it'd be about. It'd be a lot of vicarious stuff. You know what I'm saying? For me.
Wait, man, I don't want to keep it too long. I know you say it till you wrap it up. But what I will say is, I don't know when and how, but one of these days we're going to have to do a part 2 of this, because I ain't even almost halfway done the stuff that I have for you. So we definitely going to have to do a part 2 of these days. And I guess what last quick question would be, because this won't take long at all, I know you said it will be, but how finished is Gnarls Barkley, the third project?
Man, it's crazy because we only kind of got in and got a few ideas down. I mean, I will say this: I think we have enough for an album, but I doubt it would be the album, because, like, typically, the first things you do end up kind of getting backlogged once you really start getting into a groove. And I guess if it's at the risk or at the benefit of creating another crazy, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? It's like, man, shit, I would wait on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no need to rush in that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't get it, you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, you got to give yourself a chance. I mean, like, to really, really stockpile and dig in. So that's all it is, man. Like, so I speak on it from time to time just to kind of give those fans hope. But Danger Mouse don't talk at all. I mean, like, so I gotta speak on it sometimes. But, what we get, it ain't whack, that's for sure.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it'll come. It'll happen. It'll happen, man. I'm gonna see to it.
Wait, man, I appreciate you stopping through. Like I said, we definitely have to get that second one in, because I got to know about the Kendrick Untitled Unmastered thing on the next interview, because that's one of my favorite features from you. So,
For sure, man. Call me back, man. Tell the publicists, man, we'll do a part 2.
all right, for sure. I'll set it up. Anything else you got to say before we get out of here to the people listening?
Hey, man, much love, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real one, man. Don't never doubt that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yours truly, CeeLo Brain.
For everybody watching, I appreciate it. Until next time, I say what I mean what I say. Haters gonna hate, players gonna play, and y'all holla at your boy.